The first 18 spots of the 2023 NFL Draft are now set, and with the 2022 season now over for most teams, it's officially mock draft season. So let's waste no time and get the Bears on the clock. While team will trade away the number 1 pick, a lot of teams will want to jump Houston to get a QB, so Chicago can really get a great deal here. Let the madness kick in, and the Indianapolis Colts are trading 2 first-rounders and this year's 4th round pick to move up 3 spots all the way to number 1. So with the first overall pick, the Indianapolis Colts select Bryce Young. The Alabama quarterback has a solid case to be this year's best prospect, and not only did he win the Heisman in 2021, but he also proved to be a great quarterback from the Crimson Tide. If the Colts do pull out this trade, they pretty much have a franchise quarterback for the next 5 to 10 years or even more. Moving on to the 2nd overall pick, the Houston Texans select CJ Stroud. With Young out of the equation and them needing a quarterback, it's really a no-brainer here. Some would say Stroud is the best QB of this class, but regardless if that's true or not, he still has a lot of talent and could be Houston's franchise quarterback from 2023 onwards. At number 3 are the Cardinals, who pick edge defender Will Anderson. He's considered to be a generational talent at the position, and with JJ Watt retiring and Arizona's defense being abysmal this past season, it's a perfect fit for Anderson and the Cardinals to try and turn things around. At number 4 are the Bears after trading back with Indy, and they select who they would have probably picked at number 1 anyways, Jalen Carter. He's a stud defensive lineman for the Georgia Bulldogs, and I think he'll have an immediate impact over in Chicago, mainly since he would represent a massive upgrade to that D-line. Up next are the Seahawks thanks to the Russell Wilson trade. I have them selecting Myles Murphy from Clemson. When the best player available happens to be the perfect fit for your team, you gotta make the call. Murphy is a game wrecker, and if he's still on the board by the time the Seahawks pick, they should 100% draft him. Then we have the Lions thanks to the Stafford trade, and they select Brian Bresee. The Lions defense was atrocious this season, so they have to go for a defender round 1. With Anderson, Carter and Murphy off the board, it really comes down to Clemson star Brian Bresee, who could make a great duo with edge rusher Aiden Hutchinson. Up next are the Raiders, who I think will pick Will Levis here. I don't think he should be drafted anywhere near this high, but the Raiders are known for being bad at using first round picks, so this wouldn't even be that crazy. The Raiders need a quarterback, so I think they'll pull the reach at number 7. Up next are the Falcons, who select Quentin Johnston from TCU. I know they got Kyle Pitts and Drake London in back-to-back drafts, but they still need some help with wide receivers. Johnston has proven to be arguably the best receiver of this class, and him alongside London could be a dangerous pairing. Moving on are the Panthers, who select Anthony Richardson 9th overall. They might not pick a quarterback due to Sam Darnold's late season surge, but I think they'll go for one here, not only to expand their options, but to have a competition for the starting job in 2023. Then the Eagles come up next via last year's trade with New Orleans. Anyways, I have them picking Kelee Ringo here. Philly is one of the most complete teams out there, and a stud cornerback like Ringo pairing up with Darius Slay would be a dream come true for the Eagles defense and a long-lasting nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. Outside of the top 10, the Tennessee Titans select Jordan Addison from USC. The former Pittsburgh Panther has made his way up the big boards and could see himself going to the Titans, who are still in need for a wide receiver after trading away AJ Brown last year. I know they got Treylon Burks, but they do need some depth. The 12th pick belongs to the Texans, which they acquired from the Browns trading for Watson, and they'll use it to get Nolan Smith from Georgia. This Texans defense was very bad last season, so why not add a great player in Smith to at least try and boost that offensive line? Anyways, the Jets come up next and they select Peter Skoronski. The tackle from Northwestern is the clear-cut number 1 prospect at his position, and since the Jets O-line was pretty much useless in 2022, he would be an amazing addition to this Jets team trying to get the offense going. At number 14 are the Patriots, and they are picking Jackson Smith-Njigba. The Ohio State wideout has been making plays ever since he got into college, and the Patriots could be getting a steal here. New England doesn't have any star wide receiver, so I think taking Jackson here is a good bet to try and get one. At number 15, the Packers take the first tight end of the day in Michael Mayer. Green Bay has quite an interesting situation with Robert Tonyan, but I think they'll let him walk in favor of rookie star Michael Mayer, who could easily become a top-tier player for the Packers offense, especially if they keep Rodgers. At the halfway point, the Commanders are selecting Christian Gonzalez. The Oregon cornerback has been up and down the draft boards despite his stats being pretty solid, and with the top 4 quarterback prospects gone, it's no use trying to replace either Wentz or Heineke. With the 17th pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers now select Paris Johnson. Pittsburgh's O-line improved quite a lot throughout the season, but with it still being arguably their biggest position of need, they gotta go for Johnson here. year. He's a great player for the Buckeyes, and I'm pretty sure he has the ability to be a day one starter for the Steelers. Anyways, we move on to the Detroit Lions, who select cornerback Cam Smith. Detroit's defense was one of the worst in the league last year, so they gotta address that. Smith is a really good cornerback, and I think he actually fits quite well in Dan Campbell's system. Okay, so those 18 picks are 100% all set up. From now on, these upcoming ones may change depending on how the playoffs turn out. Regardless, the Buccaneers currently hold the 19th overall pick, which they used to get Tyree Wilson. He's arguably a top 10 prospect, so if he's available this late, Tampa should make the call immediately. The Texas Tech defensive end is a total stud, and he could help the Bucs defense to go right back to the top next season. For the Seahawks, I now have Alabama defensive back Brian Branch. He's one of the most versatile players of this year's class, and with the Hawks going D-line earlier, I think it's only right to address the secondary with their second first-round pick of the 2023 NFL Draft. With the 21st overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars now select Joey Porter Jr. The cornerback out of Penn State has the potential to be the best cornerback of this year's draft or the biggest bust. Still, he has been solid, and the Jaguars could use someone like him to try and boost that defense for next season. The 2022nd pick of the draft was owned by the Dolphins, but they forfeited it after violating league policies. So it's now the Giants at number 22, picking North Carolina's wide receiver Josh Downs. New York's wide receiver situation is far from ideal, and Downs could be a solid addition to the squad, and I would love to see what Ryan Daboll can do with Daniel Jones getting yet another weapon. At number 23, the Baltimore Ravens select Jalen Hyatt. If Downs was still there, they would probably pick him, but without him available, I think the Ravens will look Hyatt's way. He could be an amazing deep threat for this offense, and I really think Baltimore needs to get their hands in a good wide receiver ASAP. Up next are the Chargers with Jared Verse. The LA offense is pretty solid, but the defensive side of the ball does have some question marks. The edge defender out of Florida State would be a great addition to this Chargers D-line, and I think he could make his way up the depth chart in training camp easily. Anyways, with the 25th pick of the draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Antonio Johnson from Texas A&M. He's a great safety, and he has some undeniable talent. He might not be a perfect fit for Dallas, but I think he could boost this defensive squad to be even better than it already is. Now we have the Bengals, who are taking Broderick Jones 26th overall. Despite improving quite a lot from their 2021 form, Cincinnati's offensive line is still one of their biggest weaknesses, and the tackle out of Georgia could become a day one starter, and I'm genuinely scared of what Joe Burrow can do with an even better O-line. The Vikings are now on the clock, and they pick Jalen Jones. Minnesota's defense was easily their biggest liability this season, so why not add a defensive playmaker in Jones, who's proven to be one of the best cornerbacks of this class. Moving on are the Broncos, who got this pick in a trade with the 49ers. They select Isaiah Foskey with the 28th pick. I know defense was one of the few bright spots on this Broncos team, but I don't think there's an offensive player available who can help this team right now, so going for the best player overall is the way to go. In this case, Foskey is that player. Moving on to the Bills, they take Bijan Robinson. If he's still available by the time Buffalo's on the clock, he's gone, no doubt about it. One of the Bills' only weaknesses is running back, so opposing defenses should be incredibly scared of what this team can do if they land the best running back in college football. Anyways, up next are the Chiefs, who pick BJ Ojulari. Once again, this is one of the most complete teams in the NFL, so why not go best player available while filling a relatively big hole? Ojulari seems to be a good fit for Andy Reid's team, so I think the Chiefs wouldn't mind taking him. And now, with the 31st pick of the 2023 NFL Draft, the Eagles end the first round by selecting Osarius Torrance. Philly has a good O-line, but after addressing the cornerback position earlier on, they can have the luxury to add more depth to their offense. Torrance still could end up being a starter, so I think this could seem like a bad pick at first, but it will eventually prove its worth. Since the Dolphins forfeited their pick, there are only 31 in this year's first round, with the Steelers opening the second one with the 32nd overall pick. Just in case you were wondering, I have them picking linebacker Trenton Simpson. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you then.